Welcome to our online edition of Leadership Speak series of Banking Finance Journal. Myself, Dr. Rakesh Agrawal, editor, Banking Finance and Insurance Times. In this series, we interact with eminent personalities from financial sector and understand their perspective about the industry. Today, we'll be interacting with a very special guest, Mr. Ashutosh Khajuria, Executive Director, Federal Bank Limited. Before we start, let me briefly introduce Mr. Khajuria. Mr. Ashutosh is the Executive Director and CFO of Federal Bank. He oversees the functions of treasury, corporate planning, credit underwriting, monitoring, legal and IFSC banking unit in Gift City, Gujarat. He is a graduate in science from Banaras Hindu University and a Bachelor of Law as well. He did his post-graduation in economics. He joined Federal Bank in 2011 as President and Head Treasury and was later entrusted with the additional responsibility of business development in the entire network of branch offices outside Kerala. He is also the director on the board of Fitbank Financial Services Limited. In January 16, he was elevated to the position of Executive Director of the board. He brings with him very rich and varied exposure in banking, spanning over 38 years. So we welcome you, Mr. Ashutosh, to this online interactive series. So
Thank you very much.
So it was estimated that post COVID-19, after the moratorium period would be over, there may be a huge rise in NPA level. So what is the current scenario in your bank?
No, I think that huge word probably because it appeared because of the uncertainty on account of COVID. Nobody was very sure about how it is going to take shape, what type of impact it would have, on economy as a whole and banking industry in specific. So there were different types of models drawn. Different models were drawn, and based on that, people extrapolated the initial part, April, May, June part to the year, and then accordingly, I think it was expected that there could be a huge rise in NPA because there was total shutdown as far as economic activity is concerned. And bankers, I mean, basically the lenders are there in every segment. Even if one segment gets influenced, you have an impact on banking industry, whether it is cement or steel or oil, or you just NBFCs, whichever segment, you just name of one segment in the economy. If it gets impacted, the first, outside that sector, the sector which gets impacted is banking, because they are into lending and they are exposed to every sector. So I think here it was, the impact was on the whole economy as such. So naturally, the expectations and the projections about the health of banking was quite bad. Was seen in the financial markets as well. So you would have seen even the best banks in the fray, they also being badly
Yes.
I would say
battered. Like this.
But I think going forward, some very timely steps were taken, and first of that was to have moratorium, where some breathing space was provided to the borrowers. So they had 6 months time available with them if they were short of fund flow, cash flow, and all that. So they could postpone their obligations to be serviced, for 6 months. But I think that was not availed of by all the clients.
Yeah.
In our case, about 1/3 of our book got impacted with the moratorium initially, and some people, because to preserve their cash, because of uncertainty, they didn't. So they kept paying their installments, but they did not opt out of moratorium. So when our first quarter results came out in July, the April, May, June quarter results, Q1 results, which when these were announced, we shared with the public, we shared with the stakeholders, investors and all, that out of 1/3 of that, means nearly 12% of our total book, were the guys who had not missed even a single installment by a single day. So there was a good chunk of people who went on paying their installments, but they did not opt out of this moratorium arrangement. And they continued that till 31st August because they just wanted to see it through whether, they are able to honor their commitments or not. Some paid 2 installments, some paid, out of 6, 5 installments, and so on and so forth. Now, post 31st August, the situation was there was no more moratorium. But in August monetary policy, Reserve Bank of India came out with a prescription, you can call it a sort of forbearance, wherein they said that those who have been maintaining their accounts quite well till 29th February 2020, that is the onset of COVID and its impact in India. So end of February. If up to end of February, they have not been irregular heavily with banks, means not more than 30 days past due. Maximum 30 days past due. Means they have honored their January installment and only February installment is pending. Such cases can be taken up at the request of the borrower by the banks for restructuring. And there also the rules were very clear that when you are restructuring, you are not going to increase the repayment period beyond 24 months from the original period. So if the original period was that you can go up to end of 2024, now you can go up to 2026. So 2 more years, were given maximum. That's the maximum you can give. And also you can restructure the repayment schedule where you can have lesser amount payable in the beginning and higher amount payable subsequently spread over the additional 24 months as well. So I think the rules were very transparent and they were to encourage those who had kept their accounts, quite okay before COVID.
Yeah, so and I think this timely intervention by RBI and all banks led to a healthy situation.
Yes. So now when the Q2 results came out, you would have seen banks performed better than what market was expecting.
Yes. True.
And not only in Q2, Q3 was much better than Q2. So consecutively 2 quarters were there to establish that the type of damage that was expected, happening in financial sector, happening in banking industry is not there to come. Though I think in financial stability report, Reserve Bank of India has talked of increase in NPAs by 2-3%. They say it may, in a severe situation, it may go up to 14-15% of the total book, and in a base case, it could be about 12-13%. Already it was closer to 10%. 9.9-10 was already there. So in a base case situation, it could be additional 200 to 300 basis points, 2% to 3% additional. So that I think no bank is saying that it's going to be exactly the same as pre-COVID. There would be impact. There would be some, because all were not intact on 29th February. So those who were more than 30 days past due, they do not have a restructuring window. And if they do not have their cash flows also supporting them, and they were the fence sitters, so there have always been, 60 days past due, 45 days past due type of cases. There, these would be recognized as NPLs. But then again, one order came from Supreme Court. It's still, under sub judice. So there, I think Reserve Bank has directed, banks not to declare any account as NPA post 31st August. But what banks are doing, they don't want to simply,
just put it in NPA.
Yeah. So what they are doing, they are calling it pro forma NPA. Under that name, they may not be individually declaring an account as NPA, but whatever treatment is required for NPA is being done by banks. So we provide fully as if it is an NPA. We provide fully for that to the extent it is required. 15%, 25%, depending upon how much security is available and all. So that has been followed.
Okay. So recently, RBI has mandated guidelines to set up a robust governance structure and implement common minimum standards of security controls for digital payments, products, and services. So how do you gear up to implement these guidelines and have adequate risk management controls in bank?
See, our bank is quite tech savvy. You would have heard of us also. Internally also, we have a mantra, we call it digital at the fore, human at the core. So DFHC, that is something, which is our mantra, digital at the fore. So we may have the usage of technology to the extent possible, wherever it is required, and be at par with the best in the industry. I mean, not necessarily also ran type. That is not the motive. Motive is to be in the front runners. So bank has been doing a lot, taking lots of initiatives to see that we are more and more technically sound to be amongst the first rung banks who are adopting technology and accordingly disseminating it for their customers, making them more comfortable with the technology and prodding them to use more and more of digital mode and all. It brings transparency, it brings ease of doing operations and all, time saving and all sorts of things. A customer visits us, there is a footfall in the branch and his own time, precious time is wasted. And then again, now we have also introduced one particular thing which you would be happy to know. We appointments and all, we can have the arrangement wherein the customer can call the branch, fix an appointment and then come in.
Okay.
So that video arrangement is also there.
Okay.
Full,
Nice.
if he wants only a video call, he can have a video call. Otherwise, in person also, his slot is booked for that time. So branch manager is available to him if he says, I want to be there from 11 to 11:15. So 11 to 11:15, his time is available and he need not come. He can straight walk into branch manager's cabin and straight away, start his interaction rather than waiting for somebody else to come out. And then
because people, a lot of time they have complained that they have to wait at bank so this will solve that problem.
Yes, so and it would spread evenly the rush on the floor of the branch and all. It evenly distribute because you can have the convenient time which is convenient to you as well as it's easy to transact in a particular time slot. So that we have done, and I think if you see the ministry's data, MEITY, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, that ministry is the one which measures the transactions, how many digital transactions are happening. You may be having data available in public domain about how many digital transactions have happened, how many NEFT transaction, RTGS transactions, ATM transactions, all sorts of things, net banking transactions, how many these are, transactions have been done by each bank, and they publish the list name wise. And we are happy to share with you that amongst private sector banks, which are naturally more technically inclined vis-a-vis the public sector banks, barring, only exception is SBI. SBI is investing a huge sum on technology and all that. But I'm not talking of PSB, I'm just talking of private sector bank to which we belong. There we have inched upwards and we are now amongst the top 5 private sector banks as far as the digital penetration is concerned and the debit card usage is concerned and various other, so-called qualifying the digital transactions are concerned. So after the largest 3 in private sector bank, the HDFC, ICICI and Axis Bank, these 3, the 4th one is Kotak Mahindra Bank, and we are the 5th one. So size wise also, we would be 6th or 7th in the order, but transaction wise we have inched ourselves up.
And the bank has been almost front runner in adopting the technology.
So we are punching above our weight. We are punching above our weight.
So again, the next question is again related to digital only. So digital transactions are growing exponentially. So do you think this brick and mortar banking will be replaced by digital banking? Not fully replaced, but a major chunk could be through digital only.
So they will coexist because there are certain things which and certain segments in the society who are more comfortable when they see a physical structure of a branch. So not your generation or the generation next after you and all that, but there is a generation which certainly is more comfortable when it sees the board, it sees the individuals, the humans with flesh and blood, moving around and solving their problem rather than everything coming to them through electronic signals.
And in fact, in terms of getting some advice also, because when you go for some doing fixed deposit and all, you need some person to advise you, okay, this is the right product for you. So they gave a satisfaction.
Definitely, if you recollect my earlier sort of maxim which I used, which is the Vakya, to be pursued in our organization, and every staff member is well versed with that. It's DHFC again. DFHC is digital at the fore, human at the core. So those who are banking with us, you can independently verify that our clients treat Federal Bank branch more like their family extension. and this is the way our staff also treats them. So they participate in their social functions, marriages, birthdays, all those things, and they invite the clients also for branch celebrations, whether it is an annual day for the branch or bank day for the bank as a whole, or any other such thing, because we exist because of our clients. They are our patrons. They are the ones, because of which we exist. And that message is definitely pushed down the line. And I tell you, I'm not boasting. I've worked for 4 different banks and all. I was with SBI for 24 years. I've been with IDBI Bank and all. And my experience has been the customer service quality of a Federal Bank is just second to none. And that comes from, it's not something which has come with more of, technology and all that. In fact, technology makes person more of robot in a way, and less of the passion and human part of it and all. But the bank is known from very beginning, for ages, it is known to be more personal in approach.
Actually, over a period, you develop a culture. So that
now regulatorily it is required that senior citizens be served at their doorsteps against a nominal fee and all that. Trust me, this regulator has brought this year. FY 2021, you have got that orders from Reserve Bank for every bank to, just see to it that if a senior citizen demands the cash to be delivered at home or various other banking services at home, banks are obliged to deliver those services. You may charge your fees, whatever, you have your charges and all that. But Federal Bank has been following it for decades without fee. Decades. Old person, their payments being delivered, visiting them more like their family members, dropping there and asking, uncle, how is your health and all that. So this is what your money is. I'll collect the check from your residence, will deliver the cash at your home. And this was done voluntarily. So this was the approach of the staff, in Federal Bank. So I think I'm not trying to be boastful, but that is the DNA of the bank.
Definitely.
DNA of the bank. And therefore, I'm using the term that digital at the fore and human at the core. This human at the core came because of its DNA.
Yeah.
So that feel is there, that empathy is there. This person is not well, ill, or something like that. And
anyhow to help out the customers.
And anyway, when you have to compete with big boys, naturally you have to have some niche part of yours. So customer service was something on which the bank used to take pride. This is something which we will deliver you differently. Probably we may not pay you as high interest as maybe my some peer bank is paying. I may not be able to give you loan at a rate at which maybe one of those SBIs or some other banks, PSBs, would be in a position to give it to you because they have cheaper costs of funds. So naturally they are in a position to give you cheaper loans. But even if I charge you, say, 25 basis points extra, I would not be off the market. But whatever, say, 0.25% or so, which I charge, if I charge for a particular product, it would be more than compensated by the service that is associated.
And I think going forward, service would be service would be the main differentiating part, because products, if you see, most of the products are common. The area where you differentiate is service.
So now what we have added to that in past 5-6 years is service with technology. So technology also is a type of service which may not be through speaking to someone or addressing him in person and all. It could be digitally also. But for a next generation, say generation X, generation Y, generation Z, all those generations would be looking at, they don't want a cup of tea to be served to them when they visit the branch and all that. They just don't want to visit the branch at all. So what they need should be delivered to them. They want, with one click, I should be able to do this thing. I should be able to open my term deposits. I should be able to deposit amount in my loan account. I should be able to draw a loan disbursement and everything sitting on my on my desk or relaxing on my sofa. Not even phone call, just click of the mouse and all that. So we are trying to meet their requirements as well. So we are equipping ourselves with that. And fortunately, I think we have a young, one of the banks which has one of the youngest, workforce. Average age is in 30s, early 30s and all. And the reason for that has been because, we opened some 600 odd branches in the recent past, means in last 7, 8 years, 9 years, in a decade, you can say. So I think when I joined the bank in June of 11, bank had about 743 branches, less than 750 branches. Now we are 1300 plus. So all these branches that have been opened, number one, these branches were opened with the purpose to make the bank national. So outside Kerala, so that a regional character transforms into a national character. So it doesn't remain a bank from Kerala alone. It becomes a bank of India, a bank which represents the country and all. So we opened in almost all states. We are present. I think barring 3 or 4 states, we are present in every state. And then what we did was we recruited these young guys, because naturally for opening branches you need the manpower also. So all these guys were locally recruited. So in Gujarat, you have people from Gujarat. In Maharashtra, you have people from Maharashtra. In Bengal, you have people from Bengal and all. So they are able to communicate with the local populace in the local language. Plus, they are of the same generation who we aspire to be a banker of. So if I aspire to be a banker of generation XYZ, these guys are there to, understand their requirements and aspirations and accordingly serve them. And then suddenly, and we had a huge retirements happening. So our 50 plus guys, which were 50 in 2011, have all retired because they've become 60 plus. So all those 50 plus guys, and a huge number, every year about 350, 400 or so. So nearly 3,000 plus, of our manpower retired, and 5,000 new got recruited. Some to replace the earlier guard, and some to man the new branches together. So about 5,500 guys joined us, and they all were in their 20s. They all were in their 20s. So that brought the average age down drastically. Yes. This has not happened with all the banks, because all banks have not gone so aggressively to open the branches. Only those banks who would have gone in for this thing, and who had this demographic profile where so many people were retiring and they needed replacement.
So apart from this banking products, which other products you are focusing on? I mean, selling insurance or mutual fund or any other additional products?
So we exclusively sell the life insurance products of our own joint venture. It was earlier called IDBI Federal Life Insurance Company. Now it is called Ageas Federal Life Insurance Company, because Ageas has increased its stake and now has become the largest partner, because IDBI wanted to exit.
For us, it has been done very recently.
December. Yeah. It was done in December. So, December 2020. So I think with that, I think the largest partner is Ageas. It's a Belgian company, and IDBI wanted to exit. So therefore, IDBI has become the smallest partner amongst the 3. We are there where we were. So we were at 26%. We continue to be at 26%. So it's called, now the name has been changed to Ageas Federal Life Insurance Company. And we are exclusive. Our bank distributes exclusively only life insurance products of this company. We do not work for any other life insurance company. So that's one. Because that's our own joint venture, naturally. I mean, that's the reason. Yeah. We also sell, health insurance and general insurance of various other companies, because we don't have any presence ourselves there. So we work as an agent. We also distribute mutual fund products of, various mutual funds, almost all mutual funds. And we have an associate company where we have about 20% investment, and it's called Equirus Capital. Now, Equirus Capital is one such group, which is into merchant banking and wealth management. So when they go for wealth management and all, meet our clients and all that, they, sell all the products. They, through them, even other companies' life insurance products also can be bought. So if somebody wants to buy, doesn't want to buy Ageas Federal, he likes LIC, or he likes, say, Prudential ICICI or SBI Life, all these would be available through that wealth management package and all.
So the product would be offered according to the need of the customers.
Yes, it would be tailored. But that we do not do in our bank. that is done in our associate.
Associate bank, yeah.
Equirus is an associate.
Because you need lot of product knowledge about it to teach the customers. So it is better to have those
so
who
we have our relationship teams who work with Equirus wealth management team and all. And if any banking product is to be bought and all, our relationship managers help them. So whether it is housing loan or auto loan or education loan or some personal loan, or on the deposit side, some fixed deposit to be made and all, recurring deposit to be made and all, any of the banking products or some some of those health insurance related, anything or life insurance from Ageas Federal, then all those things are done by our people together with Equirus relationship managers.
Federal Bank has been recognized as a great place to work in a study conducted by Great Place to Work Institute. So how do you feel to get this recognition?
So I think we already knew it, but when we knew it, it's a great place to work, that would not suffice. Yes. When the endorsement comes from an external constituency, it brings a sense of pride. Right. So I may say that because we already knew it's a great place to work. And this is the reason why the attrition rate is amongst the lowest, amongst the banks. If you can check, attrition rate is one of the lowest for our bank, because people, once they join the team and all, they love the environment. So we knew it. Now an external constituency has certified it. So that's a matter of time.
And then if you, over a period of time, if you build your work culture, so that ultimately helps your bank to grow.
Yes.
Because that culture retains.
See, Mr. Agrawal, Dr. Agrawal, I would say, the thing is, in our bank, the focus is not to become the largest or biggest in any segment or so. The basic objective is to be the most admired bank. You can't be admired by anybody else and not by your own employees. It starts the charity begins at home. So if you want, when you want to be most admired bank, first your own teammates should admire you. They should feel a sense of belonging, a sense of pride in being part of this team and all. See, I think not even amongst our staff members, you won't find even 1%, 1.5% attrition rate. And that too, some people like CAs and all who has joined us, they left us saying that we want to do practice. My father is also a CA, so I want to join him. After having worked with us for 5 years, 7 years, they have gained some banking related experience, and now they are joining their family members to run their private practice and all. So that has not been a case that somebody else is poaching from the bank and taking it away and all. They want to be entrepreneurs, from employee to entrepreneur, and we always encourage. Very good, whatever we could share with you, of course, it could be your gain, but it's our gain also, because now we have one more client, ex-employee client, who would be working with us. So that way, I think we have such goodwill ambassadors also. But rest of the people, I think they take birth in this organization and retire from here only.
So central government is putting a lot of focus on lending to MSME, small loans, startups, small entrepreneurs. So how do you view this segment in terms of opportunities for growth in future?
So all through, we have been a bank of SMEs. We always used to brand ourselves as an SME bank. So it's something, which is not new to us. In fact, when the bank was born, it used to have a logo wherein there was the old symbol, which one of the political parties also used to have, do balon ki jodi, something like that. We had one farmer with a hull, with two bullocks and one plow on his shoulder. So that was the symbol of of the bank, initially when it took birth and all. So from very beginning, the bank has been a banker to agriculture and SME, customers. Now it has expanded, it spans amongst the corporates as well. Any corporate worth its name in India, we would have some relationship or the other. So we are being, patronized even by the best of corporates of the country. So we are bankers to the large groups, Tata Group or you name anyone. I mean, we are there everywhere almost. So we have them as our clients, esteemed clients. We have the commercial banking segment where the lending is from 5 crores to 50 crores. So 5 to 50 crores, one bucket is there where you have the high value SMEs as well. And then you have below 5 crores business loans, which we call it business banking. So we have a business banking segment, we have a commercial banking segment, we have the corporate banking segment, and we also have a retail segment, very strong retail segment. And our presence is being felt in almost all metros wherever we are there, competing, shoulder to shoulder with all the, peers in housing loans, auto loans and all. And particularly in the higher segment, particularly in the state of Kerala and, cities like, Bangalore and all, and even in Mumbai, where, you have all that higher sort of bracket of auto loans, we are there. So luxury cars and all those.
So how have been your results in FY 2021 and your targets for the coming year?
Well, I think we are slightly ahead of our target and all, what we had set ourselves as goal, Of course, goal also was moderate in view of COVID. So with COVID expectations, we had scaled it down when the budgeting was done and all that. But for this year, for this financial year. But then it has been still a challenging goal. I mean, it was not just brought down for this thing. And therefore, I don't want to give any guidance. Probably our bottom line should not be anywhere less than the previous year. So we would make up for whatever first quarter or second quarter, I think reduction would have been. Probably we would be making it up. And for the year as a whole, we should not be worse than FY20. So FY20 and 21, but 22 certainly should be much better than these 2 years. Particularly, and FY20, of course, till December, everything was gung-ho. So there was no sort of issue as such, in our bank. Some banks were having their problems of credit quality and all that. But if you have tracked our, quarter-wise performance, in the past 6-7 years, you will find that there has been a, noticeable improvement in credit quality. We have never crossed, in any of the quarters, we never crossed GNPA number of 3.5%, gross NPA. We did not cross 3.5%. We were at 347 maximum. And that too, when the entire system was at its worst of challenges and all. So not amongst those banks which had 8, 10, 12, 20, 24, 30% GNPA. There's one bank which had more than 30% GNPA also. So anyway, I think, and amongst private sector banks also, we would be amongst the top 3 or 4 banks having this type of number. Even some of our larger brethren had a very larger GNPA percentage. You would be that, and large private sector banks, they had much higher GNPA than us. So we had been smaller in size, but definitely well diversified and maybe a little conservative as far as credit risk is concerned. So more worried about the depositors' money and the shareholders' money. So taking full care of these things. So maybe at times we withdraw looking at the environment, and therefore you would have noticed from March 16 to June 19, right, consecutively for 17 quarters, consecutively for 17-18 quarters, you would have seen our credit growth of 20% plus. Just see the numbers every quarter. March 16 to June 19. So you have 3 years and 3 months, but you'll have about 4 3s are 12. 14 quarters. For consecutive 14 quarters, we were having the 20% plus credit growth. Only after June 19, we started seeing the slowdown in economy, and thereafter COVID and all, our growth rate, we brought it down. Our loan growth now is in single digit, so 7-8%, 8-9%, still higher than the average of the banking industry, but lower by our own standards and in single digit. Because we believe that when you know that you can't influence the environment, we are not SBI or
Sure.
HDFC, so we can change the environment with our this thing. We are a player, reasonable size. We are called a mid-sized bank. We have nearly 3 lakh crores of customer business. We have about more than 1.75, nearly 1.7 to 1.7 lakh crores of deposits, 1.25 to 1.3 lakh crores of advances. But this type of numbers and all that, we are a mid-sized bank. Balance sheet size is more than 2 lakh, I mean nearly 2 lakh crores.
2 lakh
We'll be
crores.
crossing more than 2 lakh crores, So it's neither a small bank nor a large bank. So we are somewhere in between, mid-sized bank. Being a mid-sized bank, we cannot change the environment. We are not that big.
Yeah.
As I said, not SBI also. So it's better to accept that environment is not conducive and contain your growth and look at the areas where you can do better. So when COVID happened and our growth on the corporate and other side, we contracted, we withdrew ourselves and all. We went all out for gold loans because that was the safest business to do. Our gold loan growth. Our gold loan growth year on year is 65%. December end numbers, if you see 65% YOY growth. So basically, you should be, and that is possible. When you are smaller in size, you can change the course very fast. You can be a nimble-footed bank and all, quick to react and all. It is difficult for larger players. Very large players, it would be so much of an inertia in that, or maybe momentum. Changing, reversing the direction, and all those things takes a lot of time as per the basic rules of physics. So
it higher the adapt you easily.
Yes, so that's the reason why we could do it better than maybe most of our peers.
So best of luck for your future. I think the bank will continue to grow, and I think we had a very lively discussion. So we are maybe running out of time. So we will again interacting maybe sometime again. So thanks a lot for your time.
Most welcome, Dr. Agrawal. It has been pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.